Today, I'm spinning up a Timpi GeoCore node, but not in a rack mount server, not on a GPU-hungry monster, not even in a simple virtual machine, and definitely not on something that sounds like a jet engine. Nope, I'm running it on this, a ZimaBoard. This little single board PC is the OG ZimaBoard and meets and exceeds every spec that Timpi needs and then some. It's quiet, it sips power, and it's been sitting here in the lab just waiting for a mission. And if Timpi and Icewhale are listening, I think there's an even bigger opportunity here for the future. We'll get into that, but you're gonna wanna stick around for it. Quick primer, Timpi is a decentralized, privacy-first search index. No tracking, no profiling, and no pay-to-rank nonsense. Instead, it's powered by a global network of independent node operators like me, and maybe you after this video. GeoCore is like Timpi's front door and traffic controller. It sits between search users and the node network, shielding the crawlers, which is the collectors, and the storage hub, which are the guardians, so they'll never be exposed directly. Every query hits GeoCore first, and it decides whether to answer from local cache or route the request to a storage via an information broker. And it cleans up the search with spell check and word vector analysis before sending it on. GeoCores are spread worldwide for speed, and they coordinate using a system that maps the network, load balances, finds the shortest path to the next hub, and self-heals around failures. That's why GeoCore matters. Timpi recommends a 4-core CPU, 8 gigs of RAM, and 3 gigs of free disk space. And the ZimaBoard checks every box. Plus, it's running far below what it's capable of, so it has plenty of headroom for stability. Second, power draw. Some nodes I've run in the past burn more watts than a space heater. This is barely pulling anything, only 6 watts to be exact, which is not only good for the power bill, but good for the planet too. And third, I already had it. Sometimes the best node hardware is the one you already own. I recommend using what you have, or maybe even a virtual machine. But you can pick up a new ZimaBoard version 2 if you want. It's not cheap, but it's super cool with dual 2.5 gig NICs and up to 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM, but heck, you can get this OG ZimaBoard on eBay for like $100 when they're available. Now, I've run my fair share of blockchain nodes and AI inferencing servers, GPU miners, and here's the thing, they can all be a pain. Constant maintenance, patching, random crashes, or firmware features that pop up at 2 a.m. GeoCore seems it'll be about as close to set it and forget it as you're gonna get. Low maintenance, minimal updates, and it just sits there quietly doing its job. Plus, it feels like you're contributing to something that actually improves the internet, not just padding another blockchain ledger. And of course, there are the rewards. The GeoCore node earns Timpi tokens based on uptime and performance. Right now, GeoCore earns about 800 tokens per month, but that'll change over time. So make sure you check out their documents to get the most recent and updated emission schedule as time goes on. Links in the description, of course. Now, the setup of this node is refreshingly straightforward, but before we do that, if you've made it this far in the video and you learned something today, smash that like button. It really helps the video get recommended to others. So here's the high level. Sanity check the box. You're gonna want a tiny always-on machine with minimum CPU and RAM, solid internet, and uptime that doesn't take weekends off. You'll want to stake your identity. So register and get the credentials that Timpi needs, like your unique IDs and keys. That's basically your node's passport. Then you're going to want to start clean. A fresh, updated OS, non-root user, automatic security updates. Boring? Yes. Important? Also yes. Then we containerize the mess. Timpi ships this as containers, so install the usual Docker runtime so it all runs the same everywhere. Pull the latest configs from Timpi's GeoCore repo. Don't copy old blog stuff, that stuff evolves. You need to tell it who you are. Drop your credentials into the config file. If the node doesn't know you, you're not getting paid. And make sure you open the drawbridge, meaning forward the required ports on your router and allow them in your firewall so the network can actually reach you. Side note, when I run things like this from home, I have dedicated VLANs that can't talk to other subnets in the network to help limit the risk from opening ports and running this type of infrastructure at home. Now, flip the switch, bring the stack online, and let it settle. First boot jitters are normal, so give it a little bit of time. Take a look at the status and make sure it's healthy and online. If it looks angry, it probably wants credentials, ports, or just more time. And being a good node steward, keep your uptime high, update from the official repos and knowledge base when they push changes, and glance at logs from time to time. Set it and mostly forget it. Now for some basics and best practices, make sure your node is set up with a static IP or a reserved DHCP and power on after power loss so it survives thunderstorms and clumsy tripping over wires, which never happens. Double check your internet. Aim for a stable 50 plus meg and low packet loss. Technically connected isn't the same as healthy. Ensure that your containers and services start on boot. And then for convenience, maybe add a safe remote access tool like Tailscale or Zero Tier, so you can check status without touching the router. OpenSSH works just fine from inside the LAN. If you want the exact up-to-date steps, go check out Timpi's official GeoCore GitHub and knowledge base. I'm keeping it high level here, so you always get the freshest instructions straight from Timpi. My experience so far, pretty darn good. From power on to fully synced, my setup time was just under an hour, and most of that was apt-get update and upgrade at the host OS level. Once I had Docker running, the Timpi part was running within minutes from just a few commands. Since then, it's been rock solid. No crashes, no weird errors. I check in on it every so often just to make sure I see the logs look clean. But otherwise, it's been running completely on autopilot. Okay, here's the part I was hinting at earlier. The ZimaBoard is made by Icewhale Technology, who also make the ZimaCube and ZimaCube Pro, a beast of a server NAS hybrid system designed to run a GPU on board, not through some eGPU Docker enclosure. Now, imagine this. Timpi and Icewhale work together to make an official node image that runs natively inside Docker on ZimaCube. One click, and your ZimaCube is not just your storage hub, it can also be a live Timpi node contributing to a decentralized search network. That's plug and play node hosting with zero technical barrier. Timpi, Icewhale, if you're listening, let's do this thing. All the official guides are linked down in the description. Use those so you've got the latest and greatest instructions. And I'll do a follow-up once I've got a couple months of uptime and some reward data to share. And until then, keep your nodes online, your logs clean, and I'll see you nerds in the next video.